If you're enjoying my videos, don't forget to subscribe. What up guys, this is Monkey Figure Reviews and welcome to the 6th episode of Today Fits. Today's focus will be on Grandista Sanji and Grandista Zoro. We'll be finding out whether or not they fit well with figures from other series. But before that, for those of you who missed out on my review videos, I'll just do a quick scale comparison with figures from other series for each of these two individual characters. Let's start with Sanji first, since he was released before Zoro, and I have brought out here the rest of my Sanji collection. Here we have the Portrait of Pirates sailing against Sanji. Here we have Glitter and Brave Sanji, and over here we have the Best Edition Master-Lized Sanji. So you can see the scale differences when you look across. These two are more or less the same, so they are in line with the King of Artists, Master, Stars Piece, Glitter and Glamour's Flag Diamond Ship. All those. For Zoro, I have brought out the Creator x Creator series, Portrait of Pirates sailing again, Master-Lized Best Edition, and over there to the far end we have the big size Zoro. So once again, like in my previous video I've shown you guys, you can see the different scale across the different series. I actually have also another Zoro figure that is like bending down. I reviewed it. It is the S-Culture Sphere Colosseum. I didn't bring it out because I think that is more or less in the same scale to this Portrait of Pirates. Back to the main topic, we want to find out how does Grandista Sanji and Grandista Zoro actually fit with figures from other series or even within the Grandista series itself. But just take a look at these two first, Grandista Sanji and Grandista Zoro. I would like to think that they're actually a pretty good fit. So we look at a number of factors. Number one, we look at, like, most importantly, the ones that we look out for is the scale, the height. And it is pretty okay. I think Sanji is supposed to be a little bit shorter than Zoro, and that's how they went with it. So in terms of height, in terms of scale, seems pretty good. Next, we actually look at the style, you know, because different figures usually they have different styles, right? But over here they look more or less the same in terms of, like, you know, finishing, texture, detailing. They are more like a more cartoonish interpretation. So both of them are on the same page and they are pretty good to go. So this is between the two of them, Sanji and Zoro. I would say they are pretty good. Next, I want to bring in is Grandista Luffy, because that's what it's all about, right? People want to find out how the Grandista monster trio actually looks like together. So I have him here, and I'm going to just slot him in between Zoro and Sanji. Let me just move Sanji a little bit over there. So I'll put them on the same level from the camera, and this is how they look like. So we look at the scale and the height first. Seems like it is pretty good. They are more or less around the same height. I would think that Luffy is supposed to be a little shorter, so but give or take, so I think it's still alright. Yeah, and usually if you're just concerned about height and scale, then I think these three displayed like this wouldn't be an issue, wouldn't be a problem. But if you look at like the other factors, and then you start to see that maybe they are not that perfect together, which is kind of weird, but I'll explain why. But some background knowledge first is that, first of all, Grandista Luffy actually has a different sculptor from the rest of the Grandistas. I'm not sure why. So they made Grandista Luffy, and then they changed the sculptor, and then afterwards, using the same sculptor, they made Law, Sanji, Ace, and Zoro. So the latter figures have a more similar style compared to this Grandista Luffy. And it's kind of apparent when you look at the body proportion. I think this is the one big telling point. Just looking at the head itself, let's just focus on the head first. The head size is a lot bigger compared to Sanji and Zoro. It's just like bigger. And also when compared to the head proportion to the rest of the body, it's also, I think his head size seems to be emphasized, and for some reason his arms are so skinny compared to his main torso. This was actually one of the main complaints I have for this Grandista Luffy. Not that it's a bad figure, it's still an excellent figure, but the excellent figure was mainly made by this very nice smiling face. So when you put this Luffy next to this Sanji and Zoro, and you compare the body proportions, like the way they design the proportions of the body, it just seems a little bit off. At least to me, it seems a little bit off. Also, this Luffy has a little bit of more shading around his pants compared to the other two figures. I don't really think these two figures have any shading at all, except for Sanji's hair. So there's also a little bit of difference in style. But overall, it is still like a cartoonish, I would say, a cartoonish interpretation of Luffy. The only main gripe that I have is just, put the three of them together and Luffy just seems to not really fit in due to the body proportion design. But that's just what I think, so let me know what you guys think about what I said after seeing the three of them together. Next, I also want to bring Grandista Law. I just have him here. Slide him in and put him inside. And I think it is very obvious again once when you look at the four of them together. Like Luffy just stands out again. Yeah, he just seems like he just doesn't fit in for some reason. It could be the face, because this face is also extreme, right? It doesn't really match well with the other faces over here. And if I were to take out Luffy, I'll just put Law in the middle. I think you can sort of tell they are made by the same sculptor just by the way it is designed. So Law is really tall, and I think they try to fit him with his character height in the story. I'm not sure if he's really that tall, but they made him a lot taller than the rest. Just that his legs are just badly sculpted. He looks like, I don't know, man, like what, an ostrich or something. Just look at the arch on his leg. I don't think that's a normal leg, to be honest. Yeah, but whatever. So this is how the second and third and fourth Grandista actually look like together. In terms of style, it's still pretty similar. Shading wise, I think Law get a little bit more around the pants. I have brought out the big size Zoro. You guys have seen him earlier. Just to make a few comments. Originally, when we got information about the Grandista Sanji and Grandista Zoro, I thought they would be around the same height as this big size. But as it turns out, unfortunately, they are significantly shorter. I mean, in terms of body size, body proportion, I would expect, of course, Grandista is gonna be skinnier because big size is just insane. It's Ichiban Kuji after all. But of the height, I think that I thought that they were gonna be a good match. Unfortunately, not. So if you're thinking to pair this Grandista Sanji with this Zoro, then it's not gonna work out. As you can see, they look way off with one another. And I will admit first that I was intending to do that, Grandista Sanji and big size, and that's also one of the reasons why I sold off the Super Master Stars piece Sanji. Number one, because of lack of space, and number two, I was hoping for an excellent Grandista Sanji. Look how that turned out. It just didn't work out, didn't it? Yeah, so Super Master Stars piece Sanji is also not a really good fit. He seems to be just a little bit shorter, and he's also quite skinny. Yeah, so till now we don't have a really nice Sanji to pair with this Zoro. They stopped with the big size line for some reason. I think that's because they screwed up Law. Law was terrible. Big size Law was terrible. Big size Ace was still acceptable, but they just kind of went downhill from Zoro, Ace, Law. Yeah, and I just kind of expected them to be around the height of Law, like for Sanji and Zoro. I think this is a more relevant height, but it didn't work out. Last but not least, I have brought out the King of Artists Luffy, the very first version, and this is also the first time I'm looking at the three of them together. So, first impressions, I will say it is actually pretty interesting. They look kind of good to me, but let's just go through it step by step. Look at the scale first. I think the scale of this King of Artists Luffy, when compared to the Grandistas next to him, is actually a pretty good fit. So, I would think that if this Luffy were to stand up straight, is actually of a pretty good height. It seems like it's that way looking at the size of his body, and that brings us to the next factor, the distribution of the body itself, the design. I will say he is very well distributed, definitely much well distributed than Grandista Luffy, just that his head seems to be also a little bit bigger, mainly I suspect due to his flying hair. Like his hair is kind of like flying around, flying upwards, so like more volume to it, so that could make his head look a little bit bigger instead of the flat style of Sanji and the short haircut flat style of Zoro. Next we talk about the style, the design, and this is early King of Artists style, so kind of more manga-ish in terms of the shading, a lot of lines around the body if you really look closely. So this is definitely a huge difference. But weirdly enough, I wouldn't say that it is very obvious, except for maybe the color of his body. It's just kind of orange, more orange than the Grandistas. What I think this King of Artists Luffy actually brings to this display is the dynamics. This King of Artists Luffy, by the way, it is an amazing figure. I still love him so much. He is one of like my earlier figures, and I just think he is amazing. He's one of the best Luffy figures out there in terms of official merchandise, and he just works so well with other figures, like even the big size Super Master Stars piece. It is amazing, and the three of them together just looks like they are ready to start a fight. You know what I mean? Luffy is just getting his fist clenched, getting pumped up. Zoro is getting ready to unsheath his sword, and Sanji just getting ready to kick ass. So the three of them together just kind of looks like they are ready to fight, and that's a pretty interesting dynamic display. It could work out if you do not have Grandista Luffy, but good luck with finding this guy because it's pretty rare nowadays. And maybe you just want something different instead of three people just standing there. This could be a good choice. That's all I have, guys. I think I said what I wanted to say about this Today Fit episode. So let me know what y'all think. I don't take what I say as gospel, because after all, it's just my opinion. This is like my interpretation as a One Piece figure collector. I just want to know also your opinions, your comments after seeing this video. Let me know, post them in the comment section below. If you have any questions, you can ask them too. So if you're new here, once again, don't forget to subscribe and remember to hit the notifications button so you don't miss out on any new videos. That's all, guys. I will see you again very soon. Goodbye. Give the video a thumbs up.